Have you ever watched the life you carefully built collapse into absolute ruin overnight? Maybe a relationship ended, a career shattered, or the future you were promised simply vanished. You were standing in the ashes of your old identity, feeling paralyzed by the terrifying emptiness of absolute zero. But what if you were looking at this completely wrong? Society conditions us to view loss as a punishment, a tragedy that forever defines us. But in the harsh, unfiltered reality of Stoicism, absolute zero is not a grave. It is a foundation. It is the ultimate clean slate. When you have nothing left to lose, you are finally stripped of the toxic attachments, the fragile expectations, and the heavy compromises you were carrying. You are no longer trapped by who you used to be. The collapse was entirely necessary to clear the ground for a much stronger, completely independent system. So, where do you begin when everything is gone? You do not start by trying to fix the external world, and you certainly do not start by chasing the past. You start with the only thing you truly control, your physical body and your immediate environment. Rebuilding your identity begins with aggressively installing fundamental habits that forge discipline. Wake up early. Subject your body to the brutal reality of a cold shower to reset your nervous system. Lift heavy weights or run until your lungs burn. Feed your body clean, healthy food instead of numbing your pain with garbage. Sit in silence for 10 minutes of meditation, forcing your mind to face the discomfort instead of running from it. These are not just health trends, they are survival protocols. Every time you execute one of these simple habits, you are laying a concrete brick in the foundation of your new inner citadel. You are proving to yourself that you are in command. Let's talk about the timeline. Psychology tells us that it takes, on average, 66 days to form a new habit, not the 21 days you often hear in pop culture. During this period, your brain will violently resist you. It will crave the easy dopamine of your old life. It will whisper that hitting the snooze button or skipping the gym won't hurt just this once. You must understand that you are literally rewiring your neural pathways. You are fighting against years of deep biological programming. Do not expect this process to feel good, and do not look for immediate results. The reward is not a sudden burst of happiness. The reward is the cold, undeniable realization that you are no longer a slave to your impulses. But what happens when you inevitably stumble? What if you have a terrible, exhausting day, you break your diet, skip your cold shower, or fall back into an old, destructive pattern? The average person uses a single failure as an excuse to burn the whole system down. They think that because they are not perfect, they have completely failed. This is a pathetic trap. The Stoic mindset does not demand absolute perfection. It demands relentless recovery. If you cheat on a habit, process the event clinically. Do not drown in guilt. Guilt is just another useless emotion that drains your precious energy. Instead, implement the never miss twice rule. You missed a workout today? Fine. But you absolutely do not miss it tomorrow. You do not conquer the darkness by never falling. You conquer it by standing back up faster than before. People fail to build long-term habits because they rely on a fleeting emotion called motivation. Motivation is a myth sold to the weak. It vanishes the exact moment you feel tired, stressed, or heartbroken. To make a habit permanent, you must stop treating it as a temporary goal and start treating it as your new identity. You are no longer someone who tries to meditate or wants to go to the gym. You are simply a man who trains, a man who sits in silence, a man who chooses discipline over comfort. This shift in identity changes everything. A powerful psychological trick to maintain this is to completely remove the element of choice. Do not negotiate with your mind at 5 in the morning. If you give your brain the opportunity to debate whether or not to take that cold shower, it will always choose warm comfort. Make the decision the night before and execute it the next morning like a soldier following orders. Why go through all this pain? Why choose the freezing water, the heavy iron, and the uncomfortable silence when the rest of the world chooses to numb themselves with cheap distractions? Because you are forging a psychological armor that the external world cannot pierce. When your physical and mental systems are highly optimized, you stop desperately looking for external validation. You no longer need another person to make you feel safe, complete, or successful, because you generate that unshakable stability from within. Every time you push through the resistance, you are actively starving the needy, dependent version of yourself. You become a self-sustaining force. This is the true, hidden power of rebuilding from absolute zero. You finally realize that the person who walked away was never the actual source of your strength. You were. And now, you are building an empire where you never have to depend on them again. As you master the basic protocols, you must ruthlessly scale your discipline. 10 minutes of silence eventually becomes 35 minutes of absolute mental dominance. A quick splash of cold water evolves into a daily, non-negotiable, 3-minute trial that forces your nervous system to submit to your will. You are no longer just surviving the loss. You are optimizing your life. But habits alone are not enough. You need a singular, long-term vision. Stop looking at tomorrow or next week. Project your mind years into the future and define your ultimate personal and financial independence. While others might run away to exotic islands to chase fleeting dreams or escape their reality, you remain deeply rooted in your own relentless progression. You let them walk their path, completely unbothered, because your eyes are locked entirely on the empire you are building. Hitting absolute zero is the most terrifying yet truly beautiful moment of your life. It marks the definitive death of your old, fragile, dependent self and the undeniable birth of a cold, unstoppable force. Do not waste this profound pain by wishing the past was different. The universe has violently cleared the board so you can finally play the game on your own terms. Embrace the ruin. Pick up the first brick today. Train your body until it breaks. Master your mind in the silence and build a reality so incredibly solid that no external force and no other human being can ever take it away from you again. You are not broken. You are simply under construction. Now channel that silent power and get back to work.